Greetings, good people. It's your man, Ja, coming to you once again to talk about Infinity Push. And we're going over the 3 secret sauces. This is video number 2, even though we're going to talk about secret sauce number 1. And this is what really got me interested in Infinity Push, having seen all of the other opportunities out there in the Bitcoin arena. Most of them are a cash gifting or crowdfunding, which is totally great. It's totally great. Crowdfunding is a legitimate thing as far as I'm concerned. And but they also have various tiers, buy-ins at higher levels to create an explosion of income, and they're peer-to-peer. However, those things tend to sound good, but they're not effective for the general population of people who are usually off doing other things, hoping their business will build, right? So they're not sitting around all day, or they're not full-time home business entrepreneurs, or they're just busy doing other stuff and they want another income stream, and that's great. And so Infinity Push, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been involved in any of those, and you've probably have experienced what's called the stall. And the stall is when you get involved, you pay at one level, pay at the next level, bam, guess what? Nobody's upgrading. No one's going to the next level. All of that big money you thought you might make, even 10% of it, right, has just come to a halt. I've heard the stories. People have cried about it. And this is why I believe Infinity Push is a game changer. And that sounds cliche, but it's appropriate here because all of the other competitors are going to have to catch up. And so let's look at what's happening here with this secret sauce and make sure you understand this clearly, ladies and gentlemen. Because to really understand it, you have to understand the competition. The competition out there has similar structures where you buy in at the various levels. So here we have it where you buy in just at iron, that's $10, not including the premium membership. You buy in at nickel, it's $17 plus the $10. So it'd be $27 to buy in. If you add all of this up, you'd be looking at $1,386. All right. Let's just draw that out here. So that's what it would cost to buy in at all levels. And we've had people do that to be paid ahead to make sure they do not miss any commissions. And I'm going to show you in the second part of this video exactly what I mean. Now, again, this sounds great. This sounds awesome. 582,000 income potential. And you're looking and saying, well, that's a huge number. Probably won't make that. But if I could get 10%, 58,000, it would change my life, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you exactly how you can truly have finally a chance to get that 10% or more with Infinity Push. All right. So here's the deal. With our secret sauce, you automatically get upgrade. There's no running off. So here's what happens with people. You come in, let's say you buy in, we recommend the bronze level. You can buy in from just $10, iron and nickel, brass, whatever. So let's say you buy in at the bronze level. That's $153. If you add the premium membership like you should, it'll be $253. And let's say you start getting people that buy in at that. And then what happens is when people start making their money, first they get their money back. It's $253. Then they start making a little bit of money, and all of a sudden the car note is due, right? And so instead of taking $90 and upgrading to silver or gold, guess what? They're off doing something else. Business is, maybe you start out upgrading every day, then it starts every week or something like that. They're off doing something else. And next thing you know, you experience the stall. There's no stalling here, ladies and gentlemen. That doesn't mean it's going to always move as fast, but there's no stalling because there's no running away from improving yourself. There's no running away from getting more money for you and your respective team. And so here's the deal. When you come into Infinity Push, ladies and gentlemen, and you buy in at whatever level, let's just say you started at just $10 and you refer 2 other people at $10, right? No brainer. Okay, maybe you started at 27, but in any case, your first 2 people you put in, that money is going to be used to upgrade you to nickel. You can't run off with that $16, $17, right? Then let's just say, keep it simple. You started at nickel and then they put their people in, they upgrade, boom, nickel, you go to brass. You get your first 2 underneath you on level 4 that are buying at least brass, you upgrade to copper stage. Okay, it's very, very powerful, very simple to understand how this is going to be like popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. With a ton of people coming in at $10, with a few people coming in at $1,386, and a bunch of people coming in somewhere in between, you're going to have popcorn all over the place, just like you do in a popcorn popper that's creating you upgrades and then ultimately income. The first 2 people at each stage of each level will get you upgraded. And what does this mean? You can have someone on your 3rd level, but if they're only paid at iron, there's no income yet. Okay, not in the matrix. It could be in the uni level, it could be in the binary, but not in the matrix. But once they hit brass, boom, and then another person hits brass, boom, all of a sudden you're going to copper, then bronze, and so forth. That's the power of this. And this is why we will have people cashing out at all of the levels. Now, here's where you got to be careful. And this is why we say you want to upgrade. Ladies and gentlemen, you can have somebody go put somebody in at 10, next level to 17, next level brass. It can go all the way down, ladies and gentlemen. Just one who gets one, who gets one, down 10 levels. And if they all brought in at the respective levels, ladies and gentlemen, you would be earning that money if you're qualified at that levels. If you're not qualified at that levels, that money is going to pass up and you're going to have to wait till the next person hits that level in order to either upgrade or begin to earn your commissions. You don't want to have that happen. This is why we encourage you, if you can, to pay up at multiple levels. You don't necessarily have to buy in at all levels, but you want to try to pay up at levels because you never know who's going to take off. Also, you see here on this chart, we talked about the shares, the co-op shares that you can accumulate. Here, this is if all those positions are filled. We talked about that in video number 1. As each of those positions where you earn commissions, you earn a share in the co-op to help you refer other people who help you earn more money, get more advertising. How powerful is that, ladies and gentlemen? This is a powerful system, and this is accumulation of the income potential there. So let's talk about a real case scenario, close this out so you can understand why you want to be an Infinity Push and the power of secret sauce number 1 to make you tons of Bitcoin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have created a flow chart that I'm going to make available for anyone to use on Google Docs. It'll be a link in the lower part of this video that you can access, and you can use this to input your individuals, your first 2 individuals that fall on your respective levels that hit the respective stages, so you will know when you're upgrading to the next level, right? And it's color coded, obviously, to try to make things simpler to understand and see what's happening. Because some people are confused about this and the way it flows because we're used to in our minds, the structure of a regular 2x10 type matrix. When we're not, so many of us are not used to the multiple stages within those 2x10s, which is what makes this powerful and which is why it creates the amount of income it does, because you can increase your amount of advertising that you buy. That's basically what it comes down to. So let me show you what happened here and the power of the secret sauce, okay, and why you want to be upgraded. I've done some similar videos before, but now we got a color chart. So here it is. Here's a buddy of mine, a guy named Charles. He joins the opportunity, and he got involved. He only bought in at the iron stage, right? His organization begins to grow, whether it's from direct referrals or spillover. It does not matter. As people fall into place, you begin to get upgraded and or paid. And so Mike falls into place on his first level. Mike buys in at iron and nickel stage, or stages 1 and 2. Then Twanzel joins. Twanzel buys in all the way up to bronze stage. So now Mike was Charles' first person under iron. Twanzel was his second person under iron, which is now going to upgrade Charles automatically to nickel. Charles is off doing something else. He doesn't even know it has happened, but he has progressed to the next stage in his business to earn more money. The business keeps growing. Roger falls into place. Roger is the second level of Charles, but you'll see here that Roger is only paid at the iron stage, and he's not at the nickel stage where Charles is. Then Shannon joins. Shannon comes in all the way up to brass. Shannon is on the second level, and she or he is also nickel. Then Herbert joins. Herbert buys in all the way up to the bronze stage. Then we have Gwen that joined. Gwen buys in up to brass. Now Gwen and Herbert are on the third level of Charles. So what happens is Herbert and Gwen, who are on the first level for Roger, will upgrade Roger to nickel. Now Charles has two people, his first two people, under the nickel on the second level. That's Roger and Shannon. This then upgrades Charles to brass. Charles and Gwen happen at the same time, so Charles gets credit for Gwen, but because Herbert came in earlier and Charles was not upgraded, Herbert does not count to upgrade Charles to copper. So hopefully you're following this here and seeing, number one, how the automatic upgrades moved Roger, moved Charles, moves other people, keeps their business growing, keeps income flowing. However, if you're not paid ahead, you could miss some of the activity. So now what will happen is Charles has to wait till another third person lands in order to automatically upgrade to copper, or he could go ahead and manually upgrade to copper and beyond. That's the power of what you see here with this system. You want to try to stay ahead. If you can use commissions to do it. You can upgrade. But either way, the system is going to automatically upgrade you as people fall into place. But you could lose a person or two if you're not paid ahead. But this thing is awesome. It's beautiful. It's creating autopilot income. I happen to know Charles and Roger, and I know they don't even know that they're upgraded. And that's the beauty of this, because it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep exploding. It's going to keep changing people's lives. This is the power of secret sauce number one, and why you want to be a part of Infinity Push sooner than later. So get to the sign up button, get signed up, buy in at the levels that you can, and I would encourage you to also buy in at the $99 premium membership if you can, because it's going to bring you more income at infinity levels. Talk to you on the next video. Have a great one.